ask you all to remain standing as I invite Mr. Loma Rampasad, stalwart of the Tunapuna constituency, to lead us in a word and prayer.
Good night. Bow our heads, please. Name of the Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. Dear Father, I come before you just as I am, looking everyone here before you and our whole country, asking your goodness, peace, grace, mercies, and blessing. Asking you to bless us all spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, and in good health in Jesus' almighty name. To protect us from all dangers, seen and unseen. Protect us from any injuries, any kind of trouble, anything that is not of you, any crime of thorn, evil, sickness, crime, disasters. Remove all doubt, suspicion, and savory thoughts and grudges from all our hearts and minds. Help us continue to pray and seek you more every day and night in Jesus Christ's almighty name. I thank you, Father, for your help and blessing you gave to each and every one of us in working together with Mr. Prakash Bharat and helping him retain his seat. I pray, ask, plead, and beseech you to help us continue to work together and help our leader, Kamla Prasad Bisesa, and our party, the UNC, become the next government of TNT. I pray for your guidance and protection to help us make it a safer, healthier, happier, brighter, better, most peaceful place under UNC government for us, our children, our grandchildren, and all our citizens' sake, in Jesus Christ's almighty name. Father, I pray, ask, and beseech you to keep us all safe and warm in your love and under your guidance and protection. Continue to give us all traveling mercies and bless our families and our homes to be in the order we left it. Cover us with your complete and continued guidance and protection, that wherever we go, whatever we're doing, wherever we gather, with whoever we gathered, whatever transport we are using, walking, doing chores, engaged in any activities, I pray you surround us all with your love and care, that your guardian angels continue to watch over us and keep us safe. Father, I thank you for all you've done, all you're going to do, and all that I've asked, all that I've failed or forgotten to ask. I ask you no other than through our Savior, your Son, who liveth and reigneth with you, and through whom all things are possible. In Jesus Christ's almighty name, amen.
Thank you very much. I invite you all to take your seats. UNC family, how are we feeling tonight? Let me hear all you again. Where are we tonight? The UNC has rolled into the corridor again as we are in the constituency of Tunapuna. We are in the electoral district of Caura Paradise. We are in Caura. So tonight, the UNC is here with the pavement report. And I will not keep you too long, but tonight we have a battery of speakers. We have our councillors from TPRC. We have a guest councillor with us tonight. We have firebrand MPs here tonight. We have a man who is a stalwart of Tunapuna who is here tonight. And to kick it off, I want to welcome the shadow councillor for La Hokata Wallafield, a man who has been working the ground, a man who was just 200 votes away, and I am telling you, he would have been the councillor, and he's working still better than the current councillor. Let us all please welcome Mr. Kurt Moore.
A pleasant good night and a special good night to our honorable political leader, Mrs. Kamla Prasad Bisesa, Deputy Political Leader, Ms. Jolene John, Honorable MP Richard Sicharan, Honorable Councillor Mr. Prakash Bharat, and to all at the head table seated, a pleasant good night to you all. And a pleasant good night to all our members, our UNC members, our hard-working members, friends and family, and LHE family, a pleasant good night to all. My name is Kurt Moore. I am the shadow councillor for Wallafield, La Hokata district. I have been living in La Hokata for approximately 33 years. I am a dedicated activist for the United National Congress in the La Hokata Talparo constituency. I have resided in La Hokata a while. I have seen the best, I have seen the good, I have seen the bad, I have seen the ugly. La Hokata's best years was in 2010 to 2015, where we had infrastructure being built our recreational grounds was being improved and being lit under the UNC government, led by our honorable leader, Mrs. Kamla Prasad Bisesa. We also had a pan tent built. Our pan tent was built with classrooms where you can go to class and also learn music, not just come and practice to play pan. We also had a UTT built right opposite across the highway to the front of Lakita, which raised the value of our community, also encouraged the youths to come and better and further their education. A lot of government-funded program was involved in that UTT, where youths used to come and do not have to pay a cent to do anything under the UNC government. And then up came 2015, when the PNM came into power, and Lakita went into hardship again, just as before 2010. Now, I don't know if it's the Balize juice or if it's the Shak that I shake. I don't know which one it is. But Lakita always had been a stronghold in the PNM party. Always. And I have observed by my observation that every stronghold in the PNM party always been a neglected community. And yet still we will come out and, I don't know why, I can't answer for the people, but that has been the case ever since, right? For a number of years, Lakita has been infested by crime. Murder rate high, prostitution, extortion, lack of employment. That's the case in Lakita for a number of years. The youths have no direction, nowhere to turn. Young ladies walking up and down the road with no direction, no money to go to school, nothing to eat, and the criminals are taking advantage of that situation. Things need to change, but change starts with us. And not just us as a party, but us as a people. You can't say you want change and not change within yourself. We need to change our mentality first and let that be the change, and that will be the outcome. And I hope in this 2025 election coming, that we can see this change, we will open our eyes, and the UNC can take government. Because under a UNC government, Trinidad always succeed and always progress. UNC works. It is statistically and factually proven that UNC is medicine for Trinidad. Every time the PNM government run this country down to the dogs, is UNC does come and build it back. Piece by piece, like a puzzle. Take with time and build it back. Every time. There once was a time in this country where one class of people could afford a vehicle. UNC came and changed that. By implementing laws, foreign use vehicles started to come to our country where the middle class and the lower class could afford a vehicle. There once was a time where our children used to fail common entrance. UNC changed that. They built more schools. So even though a child low, because we have late bloomers, sometimes a child going to primary school and they mightn't be catching it at that point in time, but they go on to a different school and they catch it there. They start to bloom from there. UNC gave us that chance. UNC always run to the rescue of this country. I lie? I ain't lying at all. It's a fact. UNC always run to the rescue of this country. Cost of living is high. Gas raising. The only thing low in this country is employment. That is the only thing that is low in this country. Employment. Everything else running high. Salary low, employment low, everything that is good, the scale is dropping. The country is on a verge of collapsing. The economy is falling apart. Why? We have a government with no solutions. A lie? A government with no solutions, no ideas, no compassion, no love. Not once, with all the murders going on in this country, I have seen the Prime Minister come and express compassion to the nation. Not once. We have to come together. Now is the time to come together and get rid of that government. We need to work and work hard, because hard work pays. Hard work pays. So we need to work hard. Together, we can, and get rid of this government. And we can only do it together. We can't study nothing else. The work is ahead of us. The Honorable Minister of Finance is laughing in Parliament as if the citizens is a joke. The citizens of Trinidad and Tobago is a joke to this government. They are only studying to fatten their pockets and love to tell us, tighten we belt, we in a recession. Well, my belt can't pull no more. You see how it is here? Next time I pull it, my back go break. I can't tighten my belt no more. Something have to be done. And UNC is the solution. Always been, always will be the solution. Now, I don't want to take too long, and I don't want to be too short. So, I just want to sing a song that I had for the party for you all, right? I could do that? Yeah. All right, nice. Take a look at this place. Tell me, do you see what's happening? Yeah. The choices we made, are we sure it was positive? Say action speaks louder than argument. Let's change this government. Now is the time to vote out the P&M and come together, my friends. Now is the time, each one teach one. UNC till the end. Enjoy you all night. You all have a wonderful night.
Yes, man. Well, you see talent? Let's hear it for Kurt Moorman. Well, you hear talent? That is talent, man. Ladies and gentlemen, let me take this opportunity to let us welcome our political leader as she's viewing this meeting tonight. Let us say Tunapuna welcome to Caura Bisasa. The UNC is in Tunapuna. Ladies and gentlemen, moving on, we're moving quick and fast. I now bring to you one of our newcomers. She's a graduate of the University of the West Indies with a Bachelor of Education. She's a school teacher by profession. She's been a UNC activist since a young girl. She is our first-term councillor. Please welcome to the platform the councillor for Kelly Village, Warrenville. Let us welcome TPRC's very own Kamla Pagu.
Good night to my political leader, the Honorable Mrs. Kamla Bisasa, members of Parliament, senators, councillors, activists, and my UNC family. Firstly, I would like to thank my leader for the opportunity to serve as councillor for the electoral district of Kelly Village, Warrenville. A strong woman with a vision for the people. Tonight, I stand before you deeply troubled by the lack of support and assistance this government has shown towards the burgesses of Kelly Village, Warrenville. The roads connecting us to the wider communities have deteriorated into deplorable conditions. They are filled with potholes, making daily commutes difficult. The pleas made by myself and our fellow UNC members of Parliament have fallen to deaf ears, leaving us stranded in our own communities. But it is not just the roads and drainage issues that plague us. The crime in Kelly Village, Warrenville, is now inside our homes, instilling fear and uncertainty among my burgesses. The absence of adequate law enforcement and support in these situations are leaving us vulnerable and helpless. Additionally, I am calling on the authorities to use the municipal police to assist with the escalating crime rates, ensuring the safety and security of our families. Where is the police post promised to us for Kelly Village, Warrenville? We are tired. We are frustrated. We need change. We need a government that cares. We need the UNC under the leadership of our very own Mrs. Kamla Bisasa. Kelly Village, Warrenville is in dire need of assistance. With my intervention in my first term as councillor, I am pleased to announce that through my developmental projects, work have been placed in the areas such as Sewnarine Trace, road paving, Haraxing Trace, box drains and crossing in the constituency of Caroni East, Marshall Trace Extension, box drains, Rampole Avenue, box drains in the constituency of Chaguanas East, Ajoda Road Extension, road paving, Alligator Trace, road paving in the constituency of Chaguanas West. And these are just some of the projects that I have planned, and more to come, which will be public to the burgesses of Kelly Village, Warrenville. Today, I implore the Minister of Local Government and the authorities responsible to heed our distress call. It is time for action. It is time to prioritize the needs of the people. They need some sort of relief. We demand immediate attention on the Warren Road. This road desperately needs reconstruction and maintenance. A road that is used by many. Safe and accessible roads are not a luxury for our district, but a fundamental necessity for the community well-being. Let us get Warren Road fixed. Together, let us hold this wicked government accountable and work towards transforming our community, our country into a place worth living. Let us vote for the United National Congress in the next general election. Long live our dynamic party. Long live the United National Congress. Long live Kamla Prasad Bisasa. I thank you.
Yes, man. You see, young talent again. The future of the United National Congress is in good hands. Let me take this opportunity. I would like to recognize our General Secretary, Mr. Peter Kanhai. I would like to also recognize our party organizer, MP for Kuva North, MP Ravi Ratiram. I will recognize others while the meeting is going on. As I said, we are here, the Pavement Report. The Pavement Report, we bring the party to you. We bring the party closer to home. We bring the party closer to the ground. This is why, in the vision of our political leader, why we have the Pavement Report. And within that, I want to bring to you another member of the team of Team TPRC. He's a teacher by profession. He teaches art at the secondary school level, nurtures the artistic talents of his students. He's a second-term counselor. He's a cultural activist. He's even a local actor, believe it or not. Trust me, I see him in a movie. Man have a good Indian accent. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you all to welcome a hard-working counselor, the counselor for St. Augustine South, Piaco, St. Helena. Let us welcome Counselor Richard Rampasad.
Should make you stronger. So my problems is like steroids, boy. I get my doses.
Thank you very much, Chairperson Brian Bake, for that very kind introduction. And I encourage you all to check out the movie Agman, starring yours truly. Leader of the Opposition, the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisasa, members of Parliament, councillors, and my fellow burgesses of the region, good evening. Today I stand before you not just as a councillor, but as a concerned advocate for the welfare of our citizenry and as our community as a whole, as we gather for this very crucial Pavement Report. Our nation faces pressing challenges that demand our collective attention and concerted efforts to find lasting solutions. I have found myself at a crossroad facing two critical issues that have long plagued my electoral district. One, the dire crime situation, and two, the crumbling state of our road and drainage infrastructure. In a world where safety and security are paramount, addressing the issue of crime is not just a policy decision, but a moral obligation. The safety and well-being of our communities are at stake, and it is incumbent upon us to take meaningful steps to protect our citizens and foster an environment where they can thrive without fear. In recognizing the gravity of this challenge, we understand that the time for action is now. To this end, I propose that a substantial allocation and release towards strengthening relevant resources, mainly our municipal police services, and implementing comprehensive strategies to combat crime effectively. Investing more in municipal police services is not merely a budgetary decision, but it's an investment in the safety and well-being of all of our citizens. It is about ensuring that our streets and communities are places where families can flourish, where businesses can thrive, where our youth can function without fear. Furthermore, the state of our drainage and road infrastructure is a reflection of our commitment to sustainable development and the overall quality of life. As councillors, we are acutely aware of the challenges our communities face daily due to inadequate drainage as well as road networks. Flooding disrupts lives, damages properties, and endangers our safety. Congested and poorly maintained roads result in lost time, lost productivity, and increased expenses. The time has come for decisive action, for a commitment to change that transcends rhetoric and enters the realm of reality. The dire state of our drainage and road infrastructure is a matter that touches every citizen, every commuter, and every business owner. Tonight, I make a call to the Minister of Local Government to allocate and release increased funding to address these critical issues and usher in a new era of better drainage systems and road infrastructure. Efficient transportation systems and reliable drainage networks are the lifeblood of our cities and towns, enabling economic growth, reducing congestion, and safeguarding against devastating impacts of floods. These items are a blueprint of progress and a testament on whether our government is dedicated to improving the lives of its citizens. Adequate funding for the development and maintenance of drain and road infrastructure is not a luxury, but a necessity. It is the foundation upon which we can build thriving communities, vibrant economies, and a higher quality of life for all citizens. For more than 4 years, I have been calling upon the Ministry of Works and Transport Drainage Division to provide the necessary infrastructural relief to my burgesses. We have collapsing retention walls, we have sinkhole developing at the Barcy Street Bridge, the Dry River Bridge, and the Macoya Extension Bridge, just to name a few. We also have an eroding river embankment along the Caroni River at Harris Street and surrounding tributaries. Tonight, I make a clarion call to the Minister of Finance to give the necessary budgetary allocation for these items. Also, from the local level, so that we can execute the necessary infrastructural and drainage work, be it the construction of box drain or the paving of secondary roads and water courses. The electoral district of St. Augustine, South Piarco, St. Helena continues to face serious repercussions of the dire crime situation as well as the dilapidated states of roads and drainage infrastructure. One can only hope that the government would exercise the necessary willpower to tackle these pressing concerns. Adequate funding for crime alleviation strategies and infrastructure development is not an option. It is, in fact, an imperative. The UNC's collective aspirations for a safer, more secure, and better connected community is what drives us together here tonight. Our voices, our concerns, and our hopes are the cornerstones upon which we will build a brighter future with our esteemed political party. Let us hope that this government will allocate the necessary funds to turn this vision of the UNC into a reality where our communities are resilient to the forces of nature and where our roads pave the way to progress. As a councillor, I am dedicated to representing your concerns and aspirations at the heart of our respectable political party. Together, we can chart a course towards a safer, more secure future for our beloved country. I call on the Prime Minister and the respective ministers for our beloved TNT to wholly commit to mending these social and infrastructural challenges for the citizenry, as well as acknowledging our pleas and inputs for proposed resolutions. Tonight, I thank you all for being here, and let us embark on this journey of change, progress, and transformation together. Thank you.
Kill you should make you stronger. So my problems is like steroids, boy.
Yes, let's hear it for Councillor Richard Rampasad. And yes, the two councillors before talked about crime. Well, yes, the whole country is overrun with crime. But the question to ask is, well, where is Fitzgerald Hines? Anybody know where he is? Where him? He's sleeping? He's somewhere? Well, here what? Hines, wherever he is, just stay there and resign because you ain't doing nothing. It's time to go. It's time the whole PNM to go. And it's time to return the United National Congress and Kamla Persad-Bissessar to government. Before I introduce our next speaker, I want to recognize and thank our hosts for today, the Dorado Youth Group. Let us give them and thank them for allowing us to use here. Our next speaker, as I told you all, we have a guest council speaker tonight. The UNC is a family, and we allow any member of our family within our doors to speak and wherever we are at. I first met this man in 2011 at the Sugar Industry Labor Welfare Committee. He's a senior public servant, and he took his public service to serving persons better at the head of a council. I want to welcome a gentleman I have the greatest amount of respect for, a man who has been working the area of Canupia. It is his second term in office. Let us give a Tunapuna welcome to the Council for Canupia, Mr. Richard Sukdeo.
Thank you, Brian, for that introduction. Honorable political leader, Mrs. Kamla Persad-Bissessar, our hard-working DPL in this pavement report, Senator Jolene John, Caura East MP, Dr. Richard Sicharan, Senator David Naked in the back there, our guest, Mr. Jailal, my personal friend also, my councillors, colleagues, our online platform viewers, and the most important people here tonight, the people of Tunapuna. Put your hands together for yourself this evening. Good evening to all. Money is a problem, the PNM says. Because we in the local government, as representative, as councillors, we are struggling, we are grappling with the little funds that have been allocated onto us for our very important work. Each one of us, our councillors who would have spoken before, here in Tunapuna and in the Chaguanas Borough Corporation, we provide the basic services for our daily needs, the basic services of health, to make sure your environment, your community is clean. We try to provide the basic services of patching roads. And we do that with whatever little allocations, whatever finances that are given unto us. Hence the reason you would see that there is not much infrastructural development taking place, because that costs money. And the PNM, who controls the money, they are saying money is the problem. But the PNM government, they are not considering that what developments are needed to keep our districts up to standard. They are given the same allocations nearly every year and expect us to do more work that is necessary. That cannot happen. Imagine the allocation that was given to our Ministry of Rural Development and Local Government is $1.825 billion throughout Trinidad in our 14 corporations to do the work that are needed every day to provide the facilities for the residents. And the Ministry of National Security, our chairman just said, that ministry was given $6.912 billion compared to local ministry of $1.825 billion. And where is our Minister of National Security? Are you safer today, the allocation given to the Ministry of National Security, are you safer today than 5 years ago, 10 years ago? Because he has declared that his job is not to secure you, not to make you safe. in Trinidad and Tobago. Have never heard a more ridiculous statement than that from a minister of government. Where is he? Is he the water running minister? Is he the sleeping minister? It's time he should really go to sleep permanently and be replaced by someone in the future incoming government who will have the concerns of every resident in Trinidad and Tobago. Coming back to local government, there is something called the PSIP, the Public Service Investment Program. And you know what they do on a yearly basis, on an annual basis? What they give to each councillor? Approximately, I am sure it relates also to the Tunapuna Regional Corporation, as it relates to the Chaguanas Borough Corporation. They give us approximately $1.3 million, each councillor, right, to cover an electoral district. You know what I was able to do last year with that 1.3 million only? The amount of roads requests that I had for paving, the amount of box drain requests that I have to put box drain so that to alleviate flooding, that money that they had given to the councillor, that could have only done 1,000 feet of paving. You know what is 1,000 feet of paving? That is about, in front of your house, 50 foot wide, that is about 20 only. I have about 5,000 houses in Tunapuna, and they could only give money to pave about in front 5. Imagine that. Box drain, they give us a small allocation. All I could do was about 800 foot of box drain. That is about 15 house front. And everybody wants a box drain because there is a flooding problem in Trinidad and Tobago. We cannot do the work. You know what people are saying now? Remember the partnership government of 2010 to 2015? They called us the box drain government. Well, everybody crying out now and said they want back the box drain government because everybody wants some sort of infrastructure, some sort of development in front of their home. Listen, as representative, every councillor you would have heard speaking here, and everyone to come, they would want to pave every road, provide every box drain, and everything to you. But the PNM government is saying, money is the problem. You see, they do not seem to understand the dynamism of local government. We are the first call. We are the ones that have to come to first. I see my light ticking, so I have to go on fast. I just want to highlight 2 things very quickly in the Tunapuna district. There would be a road called Hasarat Extension. The thing have sinkhole, it have crater, it have, once a car fall in it, half of the car went on it. And listen, that road leads to 2 schools, Gillingham Government Primary and the Hasarat High School. And people are complaining, they are about to protest. I wrote the minister on that road. Listen, I wrote the minister, look at the letter in my back pocket here. I wrote the minister on the 15th of November because the people were about to protest. You know, I called the minister's office and I said, what about this letter? I told the minister's office, I said, kindly acknowledge itself now, so at least we would have something on record. Up to this day, the Ministry of Works, they have not even sent an acknowledgement to this letter. Is that the type of government we want? Even, right, I have to move on, I can't stay on that. The Bridal Bridge, which they took down, they gave out a contract. All approvals was given, a feasibility approval contract awarded. WASA had to give approval because there were 2 main lines running there. After about a couple of weeks in the contract had to stop. Thousands of cars use that bridge every day. The contract had to stop because WASA bungled with the design. They stopped the contractor from working. The design that they approved, they said they cannot be used, and the contract had to stop, and the bridge work stopped for about 3 weeks. The residents just start saying, listen, this is nonsense. We want to protest. We have to call the government to account. So the residents form a protest. They say, Councillor, would you come? I say, of course, whatever it is to improve the efficiency for the people. We went and did a protest. And you know, after we did the protest, 2 days after the work started, we as council, we have to continue to put pressure on the government, call them to account, let them know that the people demand better. As I close here, I just have 2 minutes again. I want to say that PNM is saying that there is no money. But I want to tell you, if you look at the budget, we are receiving $56.1 billion in revenue. It is not that that this country doesn't have money. It's how the money is misused. That is why we at local government are suffering. Because they are not allocating the funds to it, but they are allocating it to different level. Look at monies they waste. Imagine they put Venezuela in a Holden Bay and they had to pay them $2.5 billion. Wasted money. Mismanagement. Terrestrial Dabadi here, closed down. closed down the housing where we had to spend nearly, where it spent 100 million, the repairs costing more than 100 million. Mismanagement, commission of inquiry, $500 million, and the PNM saying we have no money. They have no money to give us because they are wasting the money. The finances are wasted, mismanaged, and there is cronyism, nepotism, and they are not called to account. I am saying, ladies and gentlemen, I am saying, brothers and sisters, I am saying, friends, that we, the UNC, the United National Congress, we are a government in waiting. We must remove, we must replace this heartless, this harsh, this tax till you're dead government. They will tax you till you're dead, and replace this PNM government with the United National Congress so that there could be a caring government, a compassionate government, under the leadership of our esteemed, our indomitable, honorable political leader, Caura Bisesa, where government will be people-centered and people will be taken care of first. Long live the United National Congress. Long live our political leader, Caura Bisesa. Long live Trinidad and Tobago. God bless you. I thank you.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, you know the council say Hines should go and sleep permanently. But we know he means to go and sleep politically permanently. So he can go and resign, let him go and lime somewhere, go and rest his foot, cock up his foot and lime, let him go and do something. Let him politically go and sleep. Because he cannot do the work, he ain't doing the work. Get somebody else, and the people to do it is the United National Congress and Caura Bisesa. All you agree with me? Tunapuna, you agree with me? No, as I said, this is part of TPRC. So we have Tunapuna in the house, correct? Let me try this again. We have Tunapuna in the house, correct? Right, we have St. Joseph in the house, correct? We have St. Augustine in the house, correct? Right, I see we have Arima in the house tonight. We have W. Mera in the house tonight. I want to recognize the alderman for the Arima Borough Corporation, Ms. Vidya Mahaber. She came with her team. They are here tonight because the UNC is alive in Tunapuna. Well, we're moving on. Now, this councillor I'm a little biased towards because she's my councillor. But I just said because I made sure on election day I put my X by the UNC symbol for this person. She's completing her BSc in social work. This is her third time as a counselor. She's been an activist for 30 years, but she's looked like she's 16 years. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very hard-working counselor. I speak none other than my counselor, the counselor for Valsay and St. Joseph. Let us all welcome Seema Ramsaran Augustine.
Thank you, Brian Big. Now, you know, Brian is one of my burgesses that supports me a lot. Anytime I have problems or need assistance for any other burgesses in my district, I would reach out to him. So thank you very much, Brian. Honorable political leader, members of parliament, senators, my fellow councillors and aldermen, and you, my UNC family, pleasant good night. Now, before I start, first to begin, I'm only 30, so I know you're probably wondering my age. So I'm just making that clear. Tonight, I want to first bring some greetings to you from the district of Valsay and St. Joseph and shed some light on issues we as councillors face on a daily basis, in not just the district of Valsay and St. Joseph, but throughout the region of Tunapuna Piako. But before I proceed, I want to pay a special tribute to our leader, the Honorable Caura Bisesa. Now, you all know we have a leader who is very, very strong. Do not allow people to mislead you. We have a leader who is loving and caring. We have a leader who is full of compassion. Not many political parties could say this. Leader, we admire you and we love you. So we just want to share some love tonight and help you to stay strong. I will not be very long tonight. I will get straight to the points. As a councillor for Valsay and St. Joseph, I have been working vigorously, trying to alleviate issues within the district. Some of these main issues are repairing the roads and drains within the district in an effort to alleviate flooding. Our roads are deteriorating rapidly, urgently in need of maintenance. Councillors face a lot of challenges, mainly the lack of resources to fulfill our roles as councillors. If as councillors we get the resources we need, we can do so much improvement in different communities within our districts. Ministry of Works, they wait until the rain and storms are upon us to be helter-skelter because all the water courses are not cleaned. No fault of the workers within the ministry, I must add. The problem is they are always await releasing of funding. Minister of Works, failing one more time again. You could just imagine the situation would have been in if Trinidad and Tobago experienced a disaster like some other Caribbean countries. I thank God for His mercy because this government definitely not prepared or can deal with a real disaster. Then we have another failing ministry, Ministry of Social Development. Now these issues, most of them don't really fall under local government, but it affects our burgesses and they reach out to us for help. Imagine a system that a person has been collecting a disability grant for years and this person now reaches the age to collect a pension grant, has to wait no less than 6 months, sometimes years to collect their first pension check. Now, I'm not talking about who now going into the system, so you could just imagine who have never been in the system before and now going to apply for pension. I'm talking just giving you an example of a person who has been collecting disability all the time, now reaching the age of 65. This person, a citizen of this country who has no other means of income support, this person has been on the system for years collecting disability. How will this person survive? How will this person buy food or pay rent in some cases? Madam Minister, you need to care about people to be a minister in this ministry. You need to have some compassion. It is no secret that this PNM government has failed the people of Trinidad and Tobago, and they continue to fail every single day because they simply don't care of the people of Trinidad and Tobago, and they do not care to show that they don't care. That's how brave they are, especially the Prime Minister of this country. How much more suffering can a citizen take? Tonight, I want to call upon the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. Mr. Prime Minister, you definitely cannot do the job of running this country. Call elections now.
Yes, yes.
I stand here tonight on behalf of the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, and I beg of you, please, no more suffering. Call elections. Let the people of Trinidad and Tobago get back a Prime Minister who cares and loves them and will take care of the citizens of this country. A Prime Minister who can do the job, who knows how to run a country, who has the wisdom, the knowledge. You know, a lot of people say, she's getting old, but let me tell you something. She's one strong woman, and she's very wise, she's very intelligent, and it's not an easy job to run a country, but I can tell you, the Honorable Caura Bissessa was the best Prime Minister this country ever had and will become the best Prime Minister once again. So call elections now. Long live Caura Bissessa. Long live the UNC. Thank you.
Because what don't kill you should make you stronger. So my problems is like steroids, boy.
Yes, man, let's hear it for Councillor Sima. Well, let's see, I tell all you know, that is my councillor. And she does work hard. And she's correct. Whenever you call on her, she is able to do work. And Joanne, as I see Joanne just now. And Joanne, you see Joanne says yes. So she has the approval of the people. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to recognize we have two aldermen from the Kufa Tabaki Talpara Corporation. We have Wazim Mohammed. We have Alderman Lee Daran Singh. We welcome you. Welcome to Tunapuna. And we're moving on. We're moving on. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome a very dynamic, a vibrant young lady, a lady who is serving her third term as a councillor. She has an MBA from the Anglia Ruskin Institute. She is the current vice chairman of the St. Joseph constituency. She is the welfare officer of the National Women's Arm. She has been in this party and the politics for over 18 years. In fact, she served around the youth term period when I came into the youth term of this party, but she's still looking 18 years. So she's still young. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome a very hard-working councillor, the councillor for Caura Paji. I speak none other than the hard-working, the dynamic Jalen Rupnarain.
Thank you very much, Brian. Honorable Political Leader, Mrs. Kamla Persad-Bissessar, Members of Parliament, Councillors, Aldermen, Constituency Executive, activists, those of you looking on via the internet, members of the media, and you, my beloved people and constituents of Tunapuna, gathered here at our pavement report. Good evening. Good evening. I am Jalen Rupnarain, your humble servant from the electoral district of Caura Paji. As many of you know, I have been in active politics for over 18 years, starting my journey in the constituency of the very own Dorado and as an active before coming into being a councillor in 2010. Thanks to my honorable political leader, Mrs. Kamla Persad-Bissessar, who have been to me and would always be the best PM of our country. Agree? Back then, I can say we delivered, and we delivered with care and genuine concern for the citizens and their needs. We built and equipped schools, fire stations, police stations, highways, ECCE centers, hospitals, community centers, professional sporting venues, and I can go on. There was growth and development throughout the length and breadth of this country. 50,000 new jobs, small and medium-sized businesses flourished. Thousands of children benefited from an expanded school feeding program and exposure to the technological development via the laptop program. As a country, we were on the road to prosperity. Under Kamla Persad-Bissessar, our human, financial, social, and economic capital was being developed. Our future was bright. Today, because of Rowley, Imbert, and their gang, our future is blight. After 8 years under this spiteful, vulgar, and vindictive Rowley-led PNM government, we are suffering, and the suffering continues without an end in sight. Crime is at its worst. Don't talk about the deplorable conditions of the nation's roadway and that we endure daily. So many potholes on the nation's roadway. Right now, vehicles have to, and you know how the song go, drift. What are they doing? Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I want to focus on three main things. Drainage. For years, I have been begging Rohan Sinanan to have the Blackman River in Caura dredged and clean so that the residents of Abdul Lane, Joyo Street, Blackman Lane, Watt Street, and all the surrounding streets wouldn't have to suffer the stress of any time rain drizzle. Can you imagine the trauma and fear of having filthy water, rats, roaches, snakes invade your homes, bringing in diseases, day after day, week after week, year after year? Why is Rohan treating tax-paying citizens like this? Is he waiting for someone to die or to cry crocodile tears? Like his only ministerial colleague who boasted of crying one tear? Is it because we are not rioting? Is it because we are not blocking the roads and protesting in front of his house or his office? Citizens should not be treated like this. We should not have to beg. Rohan is being paid to do a job, and right now he has proven to be an absolute comprehensive failure. In any other country in the world, such failure would be fired. Instead, the Prime Minister endorses such incompetence and arrogance. Education. But it gets worse. Imagine we have not one, but two ministers of education, and I can't tell you which one of them is worse. Children from Caura, San Juan, Tunapuna, continue to be sacrificed because of this PNM spite and hate. 8 years ago, the new Caura Presbyterian School was 80% complete. Today, while our children have to walk or travel for miles, That school remains abandoned, looking like a forest covered in grass and trees taller than myself. A school that was almost finished was left to rot and become a health and security risk to neighboring residents, as it now houses snakes and pipers. Do you think Rowley and Dolly care? Just 2 weeks ago, I visited that school, and I was told a contract was awarded to have the cafeteria area completed. After 8 years of promise and nothing else, I tell you tonight, I do not believe them at all. The only time that school and the many other abandoned by the PNM will be finished is when Rowley and his band of misfits are thrown out of office. I am totally fed up of the excuses and promises. I am calling on both ministers of education to stop playing games with the lives and the future of our children. If they cannot do the job, get out and stop taking taxpayers' money to spy them. Have some shame and resign. One of the most important components of any successful society, and by extension the communities in them, is its ability to prepare children for their future. Education is the key in this regard, and our children deserve better. Funds. I wish to educate the public a bit about the budget. When the Minister of Finance stands and reads a budget in Parliament, he advises the public of money allocated to the corporations. Our eyes open big thinking we getting something. But as the young people say, don't get waxed. The disappointing part is that the money allocated and the money released are two different things. To date, we are still waiting on funds to provide essential services. The only allocations we get are salaries and provision of scavenging. No one needs to imagine the numerous complaints, photos, and videos I receive daily with large holes in my district. Let me call a few streets: Linden Street, Evans Street, Barrett Street, Belsmy Street, Knoll Street, Centenary Street. Almost like my whole district. Do you know most of these streets have school located on them, yet we can't find funds to do patching? Furthermore, do you know most of these holes are water leaks that were repaired by WASA, but the road restoration remained incomplete for months, causing them to expand to the size of an entire human being could fit. And for those who remember, yours truly ended up in a hole in McInroy Street, highlighting the plights of the residents. Tell me, who reimburses you? Who reimburses you for your damaged vehicle? The corporation? No. The government? No. Better must be done. Better has to come out of such situation, and we the people, you the people, must be able to benefit. This is our primary focus. Without you the people benefiting, nothing works, nothing functions. I am calling on the Minister of Local Government, Honorable Faris Alwari, to stop playing games and have some immediate intervention on releasing funds at the Tunapuna Corporation, and by extension, all of the corporations and borough. I call on him to make sure that the resource received by TPRC Corporation is shared fairly and equally, so that my area does not have to suffer because they are being victimized by the PNM. When will our National Security Minister wake up and get the job done? When will he do something to our citizens? Some hope, or make us feel safe one day? Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I can go on and on and on and on about this government, this incompetent government. So my UNC family, I am asking you here tonight, join with me. Are you ready to remove the PNM government? Tunapuna, are you ready? Enough is enough, and the PNM must be removed. Just as I believe we were victorious in the last local government election, we will be victorious when the next general election is called. And we will be telling you, Mr. Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley, your current sitting as Prime Minister has expired. And allow me to introduce here tonight the Honorable Caura Bisasa, who will be the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago and lead this country into good governance. I thank you and good night.
Yeah, man, let's hear it for the council, man. Jalen. Jalen talk about bad roads. Let me tell you something. There's something called PIP, picture in picture. But in Trinidad, it means pothole in pothole. And let me tell you something. You think only have smart TV? I have a smart car. The minute they see a pothole, it is mash bricks before I can mash bricks. It has moved to the side. My God, we need to fix the road. But if Rohan Sinan don't know what to do, well, it's simple. Time to go. All you agree? They have to go. They have to go. I only want an election. So when we call an election, we will put Tunapuna in the seat of government under the United National Congress, as well as St. Joseph, as well as Arima, as well as W. Mera, La Hokata Talparo. They are in the house here tonight. LHT, let me hear you. Aye, aye, aye. I want to now welcome. This gentleman is a former Northeast Regional Coordinator of the National Executive from 2015 to 2017. He's currently the chairman of the Tunapuna constituency. This is his second term as councillor for Caura, Paradise, Tacarigua. He is our minority leader for the UNC in Tunapuna Piako Regional Corporation. He is a dynamic man. He is the man who ensured that the UNC retained the the Caura, Paradise, Tacarigua seat. I talk about none other than the indomitable, the excitable Prakash Sukhdeo Bharat.
Thank you, Brian Big, our chairman for this evening. Give it up for Brian. Political leader of the United National Congress, Kamla Prasad Bisesa, all MPs who are here, senators, councillors, aldermen, you the activists who have come here to El Dorado today, in the heart of Tunapuna, to ensure that the United National Congress wins this seat, which is our first objective. Don't you agree? We didn't come here to play games, you know. And if all you like suffering, if all you like all the children and grandchildren, when you see that bell ring, all you go back and vote PNM. I live in a district called El Dorado. It's a city of gold, a proud city, a proud village. We are necessarily, I'm really grateful and thankful to be here in the foothills of the Northern Range. And when I listen to what's happening in this country and see what's happening in this country, as a councillor, I have nothing to say, but this PNM government is just a waste of time. I want to say a word before that, but I wouldn't say it tonight. It's just a waste of time. They have taken a good country and made it into one of the hardest. Trying to make a life here in this country is so difficult. I speak to you tonight of three areas. First as councillor, second as minority leader, and third as chairman of the Tunapuna constituency. I am telling you tonight, the PNM must go. The PNM must go because the PNM has not solved any problems in this country for none of us. The PNM has not solved anything for your children and grandchildren. The PNM has more or less obliterated your life, the small and medium-sized family in this country and their businesses. PNM has been poor in education, poor in health, poor in the economy, poor in infrastructure, poor in social assistance, poor in crime. But look for WASA and TEDEC and all those agencies. Poor, 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 poor. You all believe the PNM is anything but poor? Let me tell you. No, let me tell you. The PNM is just the way they run these things. My God, I don't know. Don't talk for foreign exchange, eh? On the issue of foreign exchange. You can get $5 US to when you're going to the bank to travel for a little leisure. And for a small business, well, you're going out of business. But you know, in Guyana, you're buying foreign exchange in the market. That is what the PNM has reduced this country to. As councillor, right up the road here, they're doing a housing project. They're going to put about nearly 1,000 people here. What do you think they call that? Come on, all the MPs of the United National Congress, MP Sicharan, and senators, Naked and who are here, let us get let us wake up 1,000 people in Tunapuna. Tunapuna, go on with that. Let us have a serious response to that. MP Munilal, if you're hearing me, this serious business, you know, I have alerted everybody to this, and we must respond. And I'm asking you all, in the heart of El Dorado, in the heart of Tunapuna, another development, housing development is going on right now. We must respond, and we must respond very quickly. Right at my left-hand side, there's a school that was built under the United National Congress over 8 or 9 years now. The El Dorado Preschool Early Childhood Center. It has not been opened. Parents paying money for their children in preschool all over the place. And we have a school rotting away. They wouldn't open the school. The Member of Parliament for Tunapuna, Mr. Esmond Ford, over and over has said that school will be open. He lies, just like his leader. It's a lie upon lie upon lie. You understand? We are saying to you all, wake up and smell the coffee. We mean business. If all you want to change the government, be excited about the United National Congress and our great leader Caura Bisesa. She is great. She's wonderful. She's powerful. She's magnificent. She's beautiful. Give her a round of applause tonight. Look, listen. Listen, I have been councillor for, well, big make a mistake. It's not 2 terms, it's 3 terms. And we do some paving. We do some patching. We do some things all over the place. But there are areas in this place here where the roads is like somebody said the other day, some people scientists or whatever, astronauts were feeling with the Mars, and when they reach the land, and it's Trinidad they're reaching because it's crater. Hey, you don't know what I live in? Under the PNM? Under the PNM, what I live in crater land. All you have nothing in your pocket. All the people poor. Who put all of it? UNC? Not until 10 to 15. The UNC didn't put all of it. The UNC only had it nice on the 10 to 15. Great under the leadership of Caura Bisesa. Hey, give her an extra round of applause again. Give her a round of applause. I built box train on Achong and right in El Dorado. We're doing some pavements. I want to make here the Bollywood. Listen to me. You know how much would have beg? Ask our councillors. How much would have beg to get those things? They had no money for 3 years. Our construction team was cutting lawn. We didn't decide the road, but we had no money for cement and even we couldn't buy toilet paper at time. You know? That's how bad it is under the PNM. I want to tell you all that in TPRC, just the other day they had TPRC week. Tunapuna week. And I said, money they spend. Well, who wind down and who grind down and who... Nothing wrong with that. Part and parcel. But we ask them for the Caura for Diwali, we get $1. Not $1. We get $1. For a little Diwali, something to help the people, give them a hamper, a little something. Nothing, no Caura, nothing for them. But 1 week after, Senator DPL John, 1 week after, budget passing for $2 million. No! Cannot happen. It's not supposed to happen. We in the TPRC, we are standing up and we are asking for accountability. Where did every cent go? And all of our councillors, I want to congratulate all the councillors of TPRC for working with me as your minority leader, for ensuring we understand what this team is about. Here now. I want to tell you something. Do not forget what the PNM and the way they operate with education. Only remember the cutting scholarship. Who that affecting? Who that affecting? If you're going Hillview and you're going Naparima and you're going one of those schools. Chairman Jailal, Who does affect him? Do not forget when election bell ring, and it's just now, when it's just now. Do not forget the pay them on that. When they come say, hey, why you cut our scholarships? Why you cut gate? Why did you cut the allocation for schools? Why? Tell them you remember that when you stain your finger and give them a Tobago. No seat for them. But I think they get one. Right? School violence. School violence. Every day somebody fighting, killing, stabbing. Nobody could get a handle on it. Remember, tell them, do not forget that. Do not forget that. Do not forget what they're doing you today in your health situation. Look what's happening in health. You go to the hospital, it has no medicine. You can't get a Paradol. It has people who in the corridor for 3 days. Recently, my brother-in-law went there and 3 days he spent on the corridor. He died there a couple weeks ago. No treatment whatsoever. No beds. But don't talk about the COVID response. 4,000 deaths. All will forget it. All will forget it. People, wake up. Wake up. The UNC is telling you all, we are the party. We are a ministry of the people. We were giving social grants left, right, and center because we cared. Them don't care nothing. Other speakers told you that. Do not forget them. Do not forget them when they come. There are people who are burgesses who are still to receive grants. Still. But the minister come and tell you, everybody get grant. Lie. Just like the leader. Lie upon lie upon lie. But look about infrastructure. Talk about that already. Pothole and hey, listen, everything just fall down on this government. Fall down. They haven't built a new road on the east-west corridor in the last, I can't tell how many years. Traffic situation so bad. We can't move from one point to another, but they put in 1,000 homes. Where are we going to go after that? Where are we going to pass? We tell them build a little bridge over the Caura River. Not going to listen to us. Don't forget them. Don't forget them when they come. Remember, they poor infrastructure. No new roads. Pothole galore. Everything gone crazy under the PNM. But don't talk for the economy. Job losses. Don't forget them when they come in. Your husband must have lost his job. Your sister, your brother, your aunt, your neighbor. Don't forget them. Let them know. Let them know, listen, I'm hurting, I'm in pain, I was feeling for my people. I'm in pain when when young ladies come to me and say, hey, I have no bread on the table today. We have to respond. The PNM are responding. They're not responding. I am saying to you, don't forget them because you have lost your jobs. The man say, lie. All the workers in Petrochin, he closing down Petrochin, will not be closed down. Then they say, all gone. He lie. Forget those, forget them. Waste of time government. Forget them. Vote them out when they see they come year and a half. Get yourself in order. We are getting you in order. No foreign exchange in this country for the small and medium-sized business. I am saying to you all today, listen carefully to your heart. Anywhere you go, talk about the performance of the PNM. Anywhere you go, talk about it. Don't talk about social services. They take away everything from you. You can't get a food card, you have to run by the MP, and the MP deciding. The MP deciding on this side here, east-west corridor. All right. The MP deciding who taking this food card, who getting this food card. And when as councillors, we have to talk to our people. How we telling them no food card for them? Chairman Jailal, how are we telling them that? They're poor, they don't have nothing on the table. Right? So the poor on the privilege of his country being brutalized under the PNM. That's you, that's me, that's your neighbor, that's your friend. Remember them when they come in. Remember them. Don't forget them. Don't forget them. I am saying to you all, right? Don't forget them. But remember the UNC. What the UNC did for you in 2010 to 2015. Remember the UNC. Remember your great leader. Remember all the great things that your leader did for you. Remember how she loved you. She cared for you. I say to every single one of you, vote them out when they come to you. Don't listen to them. Run them. Run them. Run them. Run them. UNC forever. UNC is great. UNC is great. UNC is powerful. UNC is important. Vote them out. Right now, it's you. Just like me. The choice is up to you. So I guess you are. They have no wonder how I just get up. And every clock I see, I just see through. I'm ready to have my mouth and I see through. I just want to stop. I feel like
You see, I leave Pracky to say why he had 3 terms. You see why he had 3 terms? Alida, we planned that. Because in 2010 to 2013, he was councillor as well. My friends, let's say it for Prakash Bharat, chairman of the constituency. And we move on. I first met this man in 1998. That time I was a young fella, still young, in the politics with the party. He was chairman of the constituency of Tunapuna then. Then I met him in 2000. I met him in 2001. I met him in 2002. And the list goes on. This gentleman is the former chairman of NIPDEC. This gentleman is a man, when you hear Tunapuna, you hear Hamlin Jailal. Ladies and gentlemen, he was a hard-working chairman appointed by our political leader, the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisasa. Let us all welcome to speak to you all tonight, Mr. Hamlin Jailal, former chairman of the constituency.
Because what will kill you.
Thank you very much, Chairman Brian. Chairman Brian is on fire tonight. Deputy Political Leader, Senator Julian John. I see Senator, my good brother David Nakra at the back. MP Dr. Sicharan. I saw MP Ravi Ratiram. Hard-working councillors, all the men, people of the East-West Corridor, a warm welcome to Tunapuna. And you, the people of the Tunapuna constituency, let's hear it. Very special welcome to your very own constituency. And I left the best for the last, our dear political leader. And the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, the Honorable Kamla Prasad Bisasa. Brothers and sisters, in less than 2 years, the people of Trinidad and Tobago will head to the polls to vote for a new government. Yes, it's that time again. It's clear to all who will be leading the UNC into the next general election, and her name is Kamla Prasad Bisasa. It looks as though the fellow called Dr. Keith Rowley might be leading the PNM into the next election. So it becomes Kamla versus Keith next general election. To the undecided voter, to those who don't vote, and there are many people who don't vote, to the disenchanted voter, and there are disenchanted voters in this country, to all the voters, I think it's only fair that we hold up the scorecard, the score sheet of Kamla Prasad Bisasa when she was Prime Minister between 2010 and 2015. And we must hold up the score sheet of Dr. Rowley for the last 9 years. We must make a fair comparison. That's only fair. We vote for performance. We vote for people who can deliver. You know, if I take a quick look at Team Rowley's scorecard, quick look, see, time going fast. If it were cricket, first batter, Doc on Dr. Rowley team. Second batter, Doc again. Third batter, Doc. You get me drift. They have done little. But Dr. Rowley understands golf very well. So if I put it in golf in terms, and you all may not understand golf, first hole, triple bogey, that's a horrible shot. Second hole, quadruple, even worse shot. And the worst shot in golf is you hit the ball out of bounds, lost ball, you have to start all over. I think under this government, plenty lost balls. Brothers and sisters, under this government, we have spent almost $500 billion. I didn't say million. $500 billion since 2015. That is a staggering figure. And I ask, what do we see for that money? You answer. Has your life improved since 2015? Answer. Have conditions in this country improved since 2015? I ask you tonight, is it a safer country under Dr. Rowley? The resounding answer is no.
Do we have better healthcare system? We have Dr. Sicharan, and I know he will address that. What about our roads? They call it the pothole country. All our councillors can attest to that. What about water? Protests all over this country. No water in pipes. You only have water when it rains and it floods. More and more home invasions. I think Councillor Praki Barrett referred to it. You go to the bank, can't get a US dollar. That is what is going on under this. Food prices are soaring out of reach of the common man under this present government. That's just to highlight a few. Everything is crumbling under this government. Every institution is falling apart. Society is in decay. You know, as I say, society is in decay. I only pick up the newspaper this morning, The Guardian. Children's authority sees increase in child abuse. We're speaking about our children. They said for the last 9 months in this country, 4,444 reports of child abuse and maltreatment reported. What about what not reported? And what is the government doing about that? I sure it might be 3 or 4 times not reported. That's the future of our children. And we know Kamla Prasad Bisesa is passionate when it comes to protecting our children. What is the government doing? Very little. Someone referred to school violence. You know, I thought only men fight in school. But when you see the videos on social media, is girls beating girls? That's worrying, frightening. I see it in Tobago also. Girls beating girls. I asked the Minister of Education, you're a woman. It must be in you. Minister, you must be an intelligent person. But what are you doing about it? You are the leader. You are charged with that responsibility. But it's a frightening scene, what is happening in our schools today. You know, I know there is a war going on in Ukraine. It's very sad. I know there is a war in Gaza. That one pains a lot. But sometimes I wonder, is there a war in Trinidad and Tobago? You know, since this government in power 2015, well over 5,000 murders. 5,000 murders. The majority unsolved. Some 90%. No one arrested. Last year alone, we went over 600. And the way it's going, as I speak, I don't know how many people were killed last night, but we're closing in on 550 as I speak to you right now. So it is clear, by 31st of December, we've gone over 600 murders again. That's what is happening in our country. But yet we held an emergency CARICOM summit in Hyatt, spent $5 million to solve crime. What crime? And the murder is just getting out of hand and out of hand. This is a country paralyzed with fear. Let us not talk about home invasion. People are leaving. There is a brain drain. Young people are leaving. No opportunities here. I sure you know what I speak of. I meet many university graduates. It's hopeless. No opportunity. So they're heading to greener pastures. Why? In this country, and Dr. Sicharan can attest to it, if it were in one field, when you were qualified as a doctor, a job is guaranteed. No longer under this government. Job was guaranteed. No longer under this government. And that is what we face. That is what we face under this government. Brothers and sisters, I keep watching the how time is going, but look at our health sector, and Dr. Sicharan will address it. It's falling apart, and I just wanted to make this point now. It is not about doctors. It is not about nurses. It becomes a management issue. Sometimes I ask, you know, where are the boards? Where are the CEOs? Running government is like running business. You have to make smart decisions. You have to manage. You have to execute. But I say, too much pain, too much suffering in this land under this government. I feel for our children. I feel for our single mothers under this government. I feel for our pensioners. Christmas is approaching. It will be a bleak one for many, many of our people. So I said, we have to look at the score sheet. We must not take for granted what Kamla Prasad Bisesa delivered between 2010 and 2015. We must remind the population constantly the major accomplishments that took place in that 5 years. And if I look at Team Kamla's score sheet, I see Dr. Gopi Singh was the opening batsman. He scored a century. The man actually built over 100 schools. I see Jakwana opening batting. He triple century. The man actually paved well over 300 roads. I see Dr. Munilal came one down. They have no score for him, like he's still batting. And Ms. Jolene John could attest. Hundreds and hundreds of houses, police stations, health facilities. That was happening under Kamla Prasad Bisasa. You see, it looked easy because of how much was happening. But it is not easy. Sometimes we took it for granted when Kamla Prasad Bisasa was delivering all of this under her astute leadership. But it requires leadership, and she provided that. It requires inspirational leadership, and she provided that. It requires management skills, planning, execution, and that is what we got under Kamla Prasad Bisasa and her amazing team of ministers. And that is why in this country we made so much progress. To you, the undecided voter, those of you unsure, be fair. Examine what was achieved under her reign and what is happening in the last 9 years under this gentleman. You know, we can go on what happened under Kamla Prasad Bisasa. Laptops, she put 7,000 items zero rated, sporting facilities, new Costard head office in Chaguanas, Day-Bay campus, Children's Hospital, brand new teaching facility in San Fernando. Man, if I had 10 hours, it wouldn't be enough to highlight all what was achieved, and we must constantly remind the population of what was delivered under Kamla Prasad Bisasa. Brothers and sisters, Christmas is approaching, and I say Happy Christmas, Merry Christmas to all. And followed by that, we will say Happy New Year, but I want to tell you I have sad news. It ain't no Happy New Year. It ain't no Happy New Year. Let me tell you what you face in the New Year. You might very well face another 600 murders. Who will be those people? I don't know. Could be any one of us here tonight. Could be any one of us. We face another 1,000 more home invasions. Whether you're rich or poor, they invade your home. Could be any one of us here tonight, brothers and sisters. Property tax is low. That is coming. It is low. Increase electricity rates. It's low. It's coming. It's just to let you know how much more you will have to pay. I heard electricity rates, insurance premium will increase. Water rates is coming. It's coming, brother. Obviously, and our leader speaks of that dreaded inheritance tax. So UNC family, we have 19 seats. I feel we look good in St. Joseph, and we must bring up Tunapuna to ensure Kamla Prasad Bisasa becomes the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. But as I close, I will leave you with a quote of our current Prime Minister. When he was leader of opposition, he told our beloved Prime Minister, and listen carefully, this is Keith Rowley speaking as opposition leader. He said, anytime a government resorts to blaming the opposition for its failure to deliver on their mandate and their responsibilities to the people, it is a clear sign that they have accepted, that they have outlived their usefulness. Mr. Rowley, Dr. Rowley, you're right. You have outlived your usefulness, and it's time you go and call elections, brothers and sisters. So I ask you, let us unite as never before. Let us work hard, brothers and sisters, and ensure whenever the election is called, Kamla Prasad Bisasa will be the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago to bring hope, to bring prosperity to all again. I thank you very much.
Let's hear it from Mr. Hamlin Jailal again. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker, well, like they knew I like football, so they don't have to introduce a footballer. He's a former national captain for the Trinidad and Tobago national team. He has played with numerous of international clubs. It's so much, the list long, I can't mention all. But I just wish he was playing for Manchester United. We might win some more. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the coordinator for the Tunapuna constituency, the man who ought to have been the member of parliament for Tunapuna, because when he's in the Senate, he gave them pressure. You could imagine if he was an MP, he would have had him running. He's currently one of our hard-working senators, hard-working coordinators. Let us all please welcome Senator the Honorable David Naked.
What don't kill you should make you stronger. So my problems is like steroids, boy. I get my doses from all kinds of sources, and all of them still can't kill me now.
In the name of God, the most gracious, the most merciful, I put this flag before you to point out that justice anywhere, injustice anywhere, is injustice everywhere. And remember that during the course of my conversation with you. Our beloved political leader was brave enough to make the announcement that we are in support fully with Guyana. Fully with Guyana. And what was told by the PNM? That she was only saying that because of the East Indian government that happens to be in Guyana. That is the modus operandi of the PNM. They can never deal with the issues. So they have a foreign minister, Amy Brown, who is a square peg, always in the wrong hole. And he never seems to understand that when it comes to international affairs, nothing is taken off of the table. And our political leader understands that. And that is why she made that statement. Because you cannot say, like they have said, the PNM, no negotiation, no mediation. You cannot say that in international affairs. Because you have to leave room for you to negotiate or mediate on behalf of Ghana. And that is a fact. And our political leader realized that. So you come from a position of strength, like her statement, and then you work. But the PNM sadly doesn't understand that. And now we are faced with a government who, not recognizing the injustice that Venezuela, and by the way, the reason I put that there, Venezuela, who happens to be firmly on the side of the Palestinians against the Zionist apartheid regime, how can that be so hypocritical that they recognize what is taking place in Gaza with the Palestinian people and then want to perpetrate that same occupation against our brothers and sisters down south? How is that possible? And that is why we say we are in support with the political leader's statement, our political leader, that we are with Guyana. So we go from the international, as my brother Hamdan Jailal always says, we go from the international to the local. Because everything comes back to us here. What do we have here? In Tunapuna exactly. I heard a lot of speakers mention the crime, Brother Hamdan Jailal mentioned the crime that took place 600. Let me be more specific. In 2022, in the North Central, which Tunapuna is now part of North Central, it used to be Northern Division, now it's North Central, Northeastern. In 2022, we had 44 murders in North Central. Tunapuna, St. Joseph, 44 murders. You know how many we have now in 2023? 68 murders. 68 murders. So when Brother Jalal makes the statement that we don't know who's the next one to get licked down, that is accurate. Tell me one time, have you seen the MP for Tunapuna? Ford. Not on board with Ford or on board with fraud. When have you seen him? Oh, his leader, Keith Christopher Rowley, who came to Tunapuna one time, and that was before elections in 2020. In 8 years now, he has come here one time, only to get the votes of the people of Tunapuna. Murders, serious indecency, serious aggravative crimes, criminal behavior, larceny has all gone up in Tunapuna. Did Keith Christopher Rowley come one time? Not once. They had a community center meeting. He came for 5 or 10 minutes and that was it. So when our speakers talk about how urgent it is for us to win Tunapuna, we can't just shout to the highest heavens, yeah, we're going to win Tunapuna, we have to win Tunapuna. We have to understand how we want to win Tunapuna. We have to understand that we cannot be the same as the PNM to win Tunapuna. We cannot look at Tunapuna in isolation. El Dorado here, Ozanville here, Marcus. And we have to see injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. So when that crime takes place in the zone, us who have it a little better in El Dorado, and you know what I mean if you're from Tunapuna, we cannot say, well, that happening in the zone, that happening among the gangs. They are our children too. They are your children too. And I know some of the mothers here sitting right before me. You care. You care, and you want the capacity and the facility to care about what is happening in the zone. 2 days ago, somebody ain't got licked down in Fairley Street. Again, every other day, somebody getting licked down. But they are our children. What are you going to say? Just leave them? They're part of a gang? That is the PNM. That is their narrative. Because they don't care. They are part of a gang. But what policies have you put for those same youth in 8, as Brother Jaila said, 9 years, to stop them from crime? How many times did you send Ford, who you could see in every funeral? All of them used to be happy with that. Every funeral you see in Ford. Every birthday party you see in Ford. He getting big and fat all the time. How many times you see him go and have a meeting with these same youths in the zone? They don't care. If you see Ford and Rowley and Hines, they're talking with who? Business chamber leaders. On where? The Eastern Main Road. They can't even go into the zone. But that is the zone. Where Jesus Christ went to? Jesus Christ went to who? The wealthy? He went to the sinners. He went to the poor. If you want to solve crime, who you going to? You don't go and make a deal with them. You go and talk to them. You go and present policies and programs to them. And that's what Kamla Prasad Bisasa did. You know how many programs Kamla Prasad Bisasa had running? MIC programs, Milad programs, TechVoc programs. Every year, UNC was graduating 6,000 disadvantaged youth from the communities that are underserved. 6,000. Nursing school, exactly, Brother Big. Do you know how many the PNM has graduated in the last year? 400. 400 compared to 6,000 every year from Kamla Prasad Bisasa. Now that might sound neither here nor there, but let me give you an example. Under the UNC, the murder rate was what? 320. You know what's the difference to get that to 600? You had to be some kind of crazy incompetent with a country that has the resources we've had to be spending $6 billion, $7 billion a year on national security. And you have the murder rate not going up 20% or 10%, but going up 55, almost 60, 70% compared to the UNC. That means not only you don't have any plans, you don't have any care. And that is the disconcerting thing as far as we are concerned about the PNM. You have to show a modicum of care. But you have Rowley running all around the globe as the biggest businessman that Trinidad and Tobago has ever seen, negotiating everything. Now, since when you've seen a prime minister who's responsible for policy and policy implementation, going and do business deals like he is Sabga? But better we put Sabga president or prime minister. You cannot be responsible for crime reduction, policies to prevent crime, policies for healthcare, policies for education, and not be around in Trinidad and Tobago. You're outside more than you're inside. And that is significant, people of Trinidad and Tobago. That is significant for you, the people of Tunapuna. I'll tell you why. When I talk about education, I heard somebody mention gate. I'll bring it home to you. As we say, all politics are local. Tunapuna Secondary. Do you know Tunapuna Secondary, until now, doesn't have a sixth form? Have you ever asked yourself, why? Tunapuna Secondary, with all the poor, dilapidated infrastructure there has. I know, I go there and check out the school. I have a very good contact with the PTA. Tunapuna Secondary still produces, gets 5 passes, 95% of their students. Isn't that wonderful? 95% get 5 passes or more. A lot of their students go where? To the prestige schools after, in Form 6. You know that? Hillview, Asher Boys, they go St. Mary, some of them. And until now, the PNM who has been in charge of Tunapuna, for how many years? 40-something years. They can't find a sixth form for Tunapuna Secondary to service the people of Tunapuna. So sometimes I had a mother call me, begging me. Her daughter had 7 passes. And this is where it involves you. This is where your vote matters. Her daughter had 7 passes and she couldn't find a 6th form for her. I had to be calling down Central, down South to try and get her in a 6th form. So don't think it's just statistics you push out. These are the things that come to your household sooner or later. Your daughter gets 7 passes and she can't. So I went and take a look at the school. The school has enough space for a 6th form by far. You have to the eastern end, you have a big space there. You could put labs, you could put a 6th form. You think these are things with a forward-thinking government, with a leader with vision. Because as someone just mentioned to me, everything rises and falls depending on leadership. So when you see these things, and you see something, just a microcosm of what is the bigger failure of the PNM, Tunapuna Secondary School. And you look at that, they could keep the field, which is a nice aesthetic, and you could put a lab, you could put 2 labs, you could put a 6th form, and you have the Tunapuna people served. They don't have to be running all over the place. But that calls for vision. That calls for some leadership. That calls for an MP who has some ideas. Let me tell you, this is a serious thing. This is a serious thing. Because not only education is a way out of poverty, education is a way out of from a lower middle class lifestyle to upper middle class lifestyle. And that is what I'm afraid of when it comes to our people. Our people, the base of the UNC, we have used education. We have sacrificed for our children. You know that? Our people have sacrificed. What do we used to say? Suck salt to make sure their children get education. To send them to university, become doctors, lawyers, so we could generate wealth, generational wealth. But what are we doing to those little boys who end up in the zone, out of school? Half of them failed at the SCA level. Half of them failed. Even more so, getting passes at Form 5 level. Where you think they're going to go? I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize that unless you address the issue at the root, and not at the penal, and this is where the PNM loves to see our youth in the East-West corridor. Because you know, my concern is the East-West corridor. They have no problem seeing our young men and girls, meeting them in the penal system. So they come and tell you no bail, put pressure on the UNC, no bail, lock them up. While Kamla Prasad Bisasa and the UNC, what we say to them, hold on, before you come with the no bail and the more punishment and the more fines, let's see if we can help our people at the developmental level. Just like all the UN programs suggest, just like all the first world countries suggest, what programs and policies can we put in place? And I promise you, and I make this commitment to you, whether I'm in Tunapuna or not, that should UNC come into government, Tunapuna Secondary School will have a Form 6 for the children, boys and girls of Tunapuna. And we're going to revisit a lot of those schools around the country. A lot of those schools around the country, we're going to revisit them. St. Charles, a lot of them that have the capacity and the facilities to have 6th form school. And that is very important. We cannot have our children flailing. So as I wrap up, I'm glad I heard a lot of speakers talk on broader issues, but I wanted to give you an example, just one example, in your own community, of the crime, the education, and how important it is for us. While we talk in high tones and with lofty ideals, unless we double our efforts to make sure we get the people who did not vote for us, we go into those communities, among yourselves, among your friends and your family, and we get them to come out. Because, to be honest, unless we come and we vote for UNC, all the talk doesn't make sense. Unless we're in government to help you, we cannot. So when we look on the crimes, whether they be in Palestine, whether it be in Trinidad and Tobago, it might break our heart, but never let it break our spirit. We remain resolved to bring justice and equity for the people of Trinidad and Tobago, and we ask you to join us in that fight from now until 2025 to make sure that the UNC returns to government. I thank you, people.
Yes, let's hear it for Senator Naked. Senator Naked, I want to tell you, I went to school in this district. I am a Dorado boy myself, and I share your view and I support your view for Tunapuna Secondary having a sixth form. Let's hear it for that. Ladies and gentlemen, moving on, I want to recognize the chairman of Sangre Grande Regional Corporation and members of council. I see we have Alderman from Kufa Corporation as well. Mr. Bandu, I saw him here as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome now a very hard-working member of parliament who falls under his seat, falls within the TPRC, and this is family of TPRC. When this man talks, he gives the Alsing headache because he's able to show that the Alsing is the worst member of parliament. What am I saying? What am I saying? You know what? I'm from St. Joseph. He's the worst member of parliament for St. Joseph and the worst minister of health, because we have a member of parliament who is a shadow minister of health along with our health minister team, our shadow team for health. I welcome a hard-working minister, very humble as well. Let us know a man who has been a dentist for 20 years. I'm smiling nice. Ladies and gentlemen, all welcome MP Richard Sicharan, member of parliament for Caroni East.
Thank you very much, Brian. Good night, everyone. Good night to my political leader and the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, the Honorable Kamla Persad-Bissessar, Senior Counsel. Fellow members of Parliament and Senators, I see in the crowd we have the Member of Parliament for Kuva North, Ravi Ratiram. We also have our beautiful and most intelligent Deputy Political Leader, Senator Jolene John, as well as we have Senator David Naked, who also went to St. Mary's as myself and was the captain of the football team. So I refer to him as captain. We have our local government representatives in the crowd, members from the Tunapuna Piarco Regional Corporation. We have a member from the Chagonos Borough Corporation, as well as the Kuva Tabaki Talparo Regional Corporation, and all the men in the crowd as well. Members of the National Executive, General Secretary Peter Kanhai, Party Organizer Kirk Megu, as well as, of course, our Chairman and Legal Officer Brian Big, our friends from the El Dorado Youth Group, activists, foot soldiers, and those viewing at home and abroad, welcome all to the Tunapuna Pavement Report. To begin, I'd like you all to give a round of applause to the magnificent contributions from all the previous speakers. They were truly phenomenal. And being a junior member of parliament myself, I would have to say that, you know, they were parliamentary worthy contributions. And I'd like to build tonight on the contribution from Councillor Prakash Bharat as well as Senator David Naked. And, you know, they spoke about policy and being policy driven, and ministers should have an idea of what they are doing. So I'd like to spend a few moments tonight to address those issues specifically with Minister Dayal Singh. So Minister Dayal Singh, speaking recently at a Diabetes Association symposium, lamented that diabetics were not changing their lifestyles and not taking their medications. And the week before, he accused the media of poisoning the population and failing to highlight the good work being done by the staff in the healthcare sector. And now, within the last week or two, Minister Dayal Singh is now asking pharmacists to take their oaths of office seriously and to uphold the laws of Trinidad and Tobago. And in the last instance, Minister Dayal Singh was referring to the many TTPS raids on pharmacies across Trinidad and Tobago. And many of those pharmacies that were raided were right here along the East-West corridor. We have dozens of pharmacies in the East-West corridor. And those pharmacies are now reeling from the stigma of Minister Dayal Singh has now placed on them. And many of these pharmacists feel insulted and belittled by the minister after they stood by their communities during COVID-19. Many of them remained open at the height of COVID-19, and to their detriment, they got sick, their staff got sick, and this was at a time before vaccines. So you see, my friends, the pharmacists went out of their way to serve their communities during COVID-19. And pharmacists are mostly in private practice, unlike nurses and doctors who in many instances work in the regional health authorities. But that does not give Minister Dayal Singh the right to insult and belittle these honest, hard-working citizens. In my humble opinion, he cast sinister aspersions on his fellow pharmacists. Minister Dayal Singh is also a pharmacist. In trying to stamp out unregistered drugs being sold in our local market, he has accused pharmacists of being unfaithful to their oath that they took to uphold the integrity of their profession. Never has a Minister of Health insulted an entire sector of healthcare workers. And tonight, with time permitting, I will delve into the circumstances around these comments and reveal to you the real culprit who has not taken his oath of office seriously. But to begin, I'd like to backtrack a bit. The last date that the House of Representatives met in session was the 1st of November 2023. For over 1 month, 5 weeks, the House of Representatives has not convened. And what does this mean for the average citizen? Does this mean that the government is satisfied with our current laws and regulations? Are they satisfied that our laws are working for the citizens? Or are they perhaps outdated and they are working against the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago? You see, my friends, Parliament is where the members of Parliament on your behalf represent you. But we have not had access to the Parliament for over 5 weeks. And what does this mean? It means that there is no ability for your members of Parliament to question ministers on certain instances that may be going on in our national community. For example, we do not have access to questions on notice. We have no access to urgent questions. And we have no access to private members' motions. So there's no accountability for you, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago. The government is currently working in secrecy. There's no legislative agenda. All the ministries are collapsing. Cars, impounded cars, are being burnt on government property. A nursing manager cannot get an ECG test for the last 2 years, and she's working in the hospital. What do you think that means for you and your family? No debates on the increase of electricity rates, no debates on the Revenue Authority. We are a nation under siege, my friends. Moving on to what many have asked me to address the health sector, I will just address one particular instance. We are currently in a crisis in the healthcare sector. I spoke to you about a nursing manager not being able to access an ECG for her heart. But we have poor leadership and poor and incompetent management in the healthcare sector, as Senator Naki said. We have a minister, and I prefer to call him Do-Nothing Dayal Singh. And he prefers to criticize everyone for his own failures. A minister must lead by policies, and policies must be implemented via legislation. And his performance as a legislator has been lazy and without direction. He currently sits in an ivory tower around the Queen's Park Savannah. Hundreds of millions of dollars were spent to build the new administrative center for the Ministry of Health, but no ECG test for the nursing manager. And pharmacies now are under the microscope of the TTPS, and their heroic actions during COVID-19 forgotten. And pharmacists and their assistants, as I told you, risk their lives. We actually had an instance of one pharmacist in St. Helena that died during COVID-19 from COVID. And what they are being subjected to now is a slap in the face for their service. And they have never been formally acknowledged by Minister Dayal Singh for their service. Shame on you, Minister Do-Nothing Dayal Singh. Shame. The minister has recognized the Fantastic Four, Parasaram Hines, Abdul and Trotman. He has given bonuses to the doctors and nurses, but what have the pharmacists gotten? Insults and threats of prosecution. So let me explain this into more detail for you. On the 27th of October 2023, the police seized roughly 14,000 pharmaceutical items worth more than $1.5 million that they said were unregistered drugs in a warehouse. And this warehouse was placed into quarantine, and over $10 million worth of goods and items was seized at this warehouse. In a release, the TTPS said, after several reports of the sale of unregistered and expired drugs being sold to citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, the multi-agency task force investigated the matter and acted upon the information in Operation Windsor. And during the exercise, the chemistry, food, and drug inspectors discovered several breaches. Now, we in the UNC, and myself specifically, we have no issue with the TTPS doing their job, and kudos to them. They are there to enforce the law, but what I have an issue with is that the pharmacists and the pharmacy importers in Trinidad and Tobago have been begging this minister, begging Minister Dialsing to update the Pharmacy Act and the Food and Drug Act, right? Now, due to these acts being woefully outdated, in one case last amended in 1962, pharmacists are being impeded from serving the public to the best of their ability. And the only person that can amend these acts is Minister Dialsing in Parliament. But we haven't had a session for the last 5 weeks. The same individual who is questioning the integrity of pharmacists who treated patients during the height of COVID-19. Now, it's not only myself and the UNC saying this. The private pharmacy business chamber has cast blame on the antiquated and outdated legislation as the main cause of the raids that have been taken out on pharmacies across the country. President of this association, Mr. Glenwood Suchet, has said the raids were not new and began since July of this year. And his association has put out notices to all their pharmacies indicating to them which of the drugs the TTPS are deeming to be illegal. But many of these drugs, my friends, many of these drugs are over-the-counter drugs. And the issue here is that the packaging was not registered by the Ministry of Health due to the lengthy process of validation. Some of these drugs in question, according to Mrs. Suchet, are simply emergency of vitamin C, Caltrate, different sizes of the Vicks bottles, and topical ointments that are freely sold in the United States, Europe, and many other countries around the world. But here in Trinidad and Tobago, they are now illegal because of the length of time it takes to register a new drug or a new packaging of a drug in the Ministry of Health. And according to these pharmacists, all these drugs are fully registered by the United States Food and Drug Administration, and under no condition they as pharmacists would do anything to jeopardize the health and well-being of citizens of this country. And they state that the fault lies with Minister Dialsing, who has not been proactive in updating the laws that have caused these products to fall outside the boundary of law. They feel abandoned and they feel misrepresented by Minister Dialsing. And the Pharmacy Board Act, as I told you before, was last updated in 1962. And Minister Dialsing, despite all of our pleas, myself, Dr. Budu, Dr. Rai Ragbir, he has ignored our pleas to modernize these acts, including the Dental Act. So there's a lot of red tape that hampers the registration process for any individual or any company that wishes to import drugs. And these pharmacies now must face the brunt of the law because Minister Dialsing has not kept pace with these advancements. According to Mr. Suchet, it takes years now to register a new drug. And patients here in Trinidad and Tobago are being prescribed these drugs, and they are going to the pharmacy to get these drugs. The pharmacists are buying these drugs from importers and now being told that these drugs are illegal. And we have a dysfunctional drug advisory unit at the Chemistry, Food and Drug Division in the Ministry of Health. And it takes many, many years because this division only meets twice a year to approve or disapprove an application for a drug. And it has gotten progressively worse over the years till the point of COVID-19 when it was almost non-existent. In addition, many of these pharmacies that are now facing the brunt of the law have invoices in their possession where they could show that the drugs that they purchased were legally imported into the country. There was a broker that was used, and Customs, Food and Drugs stamped these documents to allow them to purchase these drugs. So now the Minister of Health is advocating that these drugs are legal. But if the laws were updated, a simple over-the-counter drug should not be illegal in Trinidad and Tobago. So who is at fault here? Minister Diyal Singh is at fault here. During COVID-19, many of the major brands such as Vicks, Panadol, Dayquil, they changed their packaging in order to sell more of their product. So instead of normally selling a big bottle, they had a medium-sized bottle and they had a small bottle. Now here in Trinidad, the medium-sized bottle and the smaller bottle are now illegal because they have not been registered with the Ministry of Health. Nothing has changed in the formulation of these drugs. The Ministry of Health has simply not kept pace with the huge changes that are happening in the pharmacy industry. Laws need to be updated for the importation of over-the-counter drugs, as well as laws need to be updated for Customs and Excise Division to be able to seize unregistered drugs at our ports. But how can this be done if Parliament does not meet on a regular or consistent basis? Is the pharmacy owner's fault, or is it the onus on the Minister of Health to have the relevant legislation up to date? Minister Diyal Singh must use his office to update the legislation rather than labeling our pharmacists as being unethical and bringing their businesses into disrepute. And it does not end there. Former President of the Pharmacy Board, Andrew Rahman, has also spoken on this issue. And what he has said is that Minister Diyal Singh should spend his time beefing up Chemistry, Food and Drugs Division. He went on to say that many standalone pharmacies are barely surviving and have been targeted and harassed by the TTPS now under these latest raids, and that Minister Diyal Singh should spend his time hiring more staff at the Ministry of Health so that these new drugs could be registered. Human resources at the ministry is not adequate, and the task for funding is also a scarce resource. Hundreds of millions on a new administrative building for the Ministry of Health around Queen's Park, Savannah, but not enough staff to register drugs. So who will question the authenticity of Mucinex, of Robitussin, of Dayquil, of Vicks, of NyQuil? The problem lies with the Ministry of Health. The problem lies with this slothful Minister Diyal Singh. My friends, my leader has done so much for the health sector. She has built the Caura Hospital. She has built the San Fernando Teaching Hospital. She has built the Academy of Nursing and Allied Health. She was building human capacity and people-centered development, not insulting health professionals and questioning their integrity. I wish to remind you that the quality of your lives was better under Kamla Persad-Bissessar. We owe it to ourselves, our families, and our children to take a stand against this Rowley administration. Kamla Persad-Bissessar is the strongest person that I know. Keep flying the flag of the United National Congress and rallying around our leader, Kamla Persad-Bissessar. Long live our great party. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, MP. Let's hear it for the MP. MP, I want to tell him, a doctor just called me. He told me to come and do a medical checkup. Because, you know, every time I talk about Diyal Singh, as I do check my pressure, I get a headache, I get Panadol, and we don't hardly have Panadol. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just recognize MP Khadija Amin, who is here as well, Deputy Chair. And I also would like you all to do a special welcome for me tonight. We have in our midst our International Relations Officer, Nicholas Morris. Today is also his birthday. So let's all give him a Tunapuna welcome for his birthday. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to welcome our next speaker. She would have been the Managing Director of HTC. She was the Chairman of UDCOT, CEO of Pizza Boys. She was the Minister of Transport under the Pandey administration. This lady, when you hear her name, you hear work. When you hear her name, you hear work, get it done. As you would have heard before, we got a lot of buildings built under the People's Partnership with buildings that had people in it that worked, and that was because of one person who should have been the Member of Parliament for La Hocatal Talparo. I speak none other than our Deputy Political Leader. Let's all welcome the Honorable Geraldine John, Senator Geraldine John.
Thank you for that warm welcome. Thank you so much. Our dear Councillor Seema said she felt like 30. I want to tell her so if I feel like 22. So, happy birthday to Nicholas. Thank you to all the speakers who went before. Our councillors were absolutely fabulous. 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 It shows you that the UNC is working. The UNC is working hard. We have a great team of people who are just ready to take off when that time comes. I really want to thank Senator Nakid and also our really beautiful, I want to kind of return the compliment, a very humble, very talented dentist, our beautiful, and now studying law, as if it's not enough, you know, our beautiful MP Dr. Rishi Suchiran. Thank you so much. So thank you for coming out to the Pavement report this evening. Thank you so much. I congratulate again all of the speakers, and I'm truly proud of this party, our values, our representation of all Trinidad and Tobago. We are so diverse. I am proud of a truly diverse party. We were reminded last week Sunday by none other than MP Dave Tanku that it was Advent, the beginning of Advent. You know, it shows you how diverse we are. And he quoted Pope Francis when he said, maybe let ourselves be drawn by the light of God made man. A quote by Pope Francis. And during the day, I was talking to our councillor, our chairman councillor from CTTRC, Ryan Rampasad. And he was very excited about the lighting of the creche. So it reinforces my views that there is more that unites us than divides us. And I don't want to have to remind you, every one of our councillors and various speakers would have highlighted the difficulties we are facing, the challenging period that we are in. You can't miss it. It's all around you. The way that people are finding it almost impossible to make two ends meet. And so I therefore took note of a certain business leader who only this week, I think on television, was urging the government to pay the back pay a little earlier than the Friday before Christmas. He said, I find the Friday before Christmas a little late because there will be a rush to the stores at that time. Now, I too hope that those who are eligible for back pay, they get it before Christmas. But during this period, while waiting for it, my advice is do not go and window shop for any fridge and stove. Do not window shop for no bed and mattress. You don't need another one of those. Please, I hear you saying nothing. Don't be fixated on that. Don't go and buy no pay, don't want no carnival costume. And please don't plan no shopping trip to New York. Not this time. Make a back pay budget before you receive this anticipated back pay. This is the only list you should be making and checking twice. Make sure on that list you plan to pay the rent, the back rent that you have for your landlord. Make it a priority to RUN, to HDC and pay them, because shelter is important. It is very important. Do not be irresponsible, right? Don't go after Christmas crying crocodile tears saying that something serious trouble has overtaken me. My mother dead over Christmas this time to HDC, that is when they on you for the money. This time all that has happened, your mother alive and well chilling in New York, but you know you have to find something to say. Pay T and Tech. Pay the homework teacher who you owe since SCA finished. You know, them under pressure too. Pay the driver who takes the children to school. Buy a little grocery, the basic thing that will hold you until February. Because you know, everybody talks about January being a hard month. Because, you know, all the money go on for Christmas. And then leave a little something in the bank. I say this to say, give yourself a break from the unrelenting mental stress, anxiety, and frustration
Because when you're under this kind of stress, is when you find yourself making decisions that sometimes bring more grief. I forgot to acknowledge our former chairman of the Tunapuna constituency, the very successful businessman, Mr. Hamlin Jalal. And he made the point, with one of the points that I'm about to make. You see, I make the point in this month of Christmas where a significant number of households are headed by mothers, by women, single mothers, as many fathers have long abandoned the mission and moved on, leaving women to hold the strain while raising families, juggling multiple roles, as a result of which many children are left unprotected and unsupervised and at the mercy of predators. You see, from time to time, statistics against violence against children, the abuse of our children are published, but it appears as if the country is willing only to avert their eyes. Just this morning, the same report that our Honorable Chairman was referring to, I too saw that I had already written up my remarks for this evening, and it had to do with child abuse. And there it was that Akash was saying, we are getting no ease up with the issue of child abuse in Trinidad and Tobago. Now, this is a serious thing, you know. These are little children we are talking about. The children authority are saying children from 1 year to 13 years, big old hardback men meddling with them. And we have to really look at this as the crisis that it is. Between January and October, the Children Authority said it received 4,444 reports. And Chairman, it is not that it is 4 times more, it is 7 times more of those reports that are not reported. And I think we should be very ashamed as a country that this is happening. This is the world's worst kept secret. You know, and it's not only sexual abuse, it is domestic abuse, it is negligence, it is abandonment. Clinical psychologist Sarah Subban believes the high prevalence of neglect calls for serious research into the societal factors affecting family systems. Parental factors include poor mental health history, poverty, a lack of proper parental strategies, and so on and so on. It went on. Go and read that article. I think it is very important. And even our honorable political leader raised this issue on Monday, you know, about sexual abuse, and it was the subject of a subsequent Express editorial. You know, you see, as Akash Samaru noted, there's a surge in the abuse of children, notwithstanding that issue being highlighted in the media. Because from time to time, I mean, just Googling it this morning, I saw so many articles just this year alone, and everybody talking about this thing is just going up and up and up and up. And adults, parents, and family members, they say, they are the ones, I mean, very close relatives, not people that they don't know, you know. This is people who are doing these things are people that we know, and the family know. The man sitting behind you in the church pew, the man standing in the Masio extra food line. You understand? These are people we know, and women leave their children in the care of some of these folks. So life takes discipline. We all face our challenges. Nobody knows what you're going through. But don't wait until the 6th child is born to realize that the father not daddy material. If you're not sleeping beside you when the night comes and you're all over the place prowling like Mr. Howard Cat, it means you're sleeping on no bed, no bench in Woodford Square. You're sleeping either. He's sleeping in somebody else's warm bed. Simply in another bed. So it is the children who suffer, and ultimately the wider society who pay a price when adults lack judgment. Adults are not responsible or disciplined. And there are many who behave like Lion King. They don't care whether the sun come up tomorrow. When you watch them, they tell them, Hakuna Matata, what happened? They just don't care. And then all this time, the Children Authority says an average of 1,395 reports of child sexual abuse were made to the Children Authority each year. And basically, as I said, it could be as high as 7 times more. The child psychologist said, in over 80% of sexual abuse cases, the victims are female. The authority has received reports about children less than 1 year old being abused, but the most frequent age group was 10 to 13. And they went on, 10 to 13. These are babies. These are babies, and these things happen without consent. So therefore, ladies and gentlemen, you cannot meet a man or woman, for that matter, in a carnival fete, or online, cooing and wooing, and next thing is, oh God, look at her face, there comes my next mistake. You know it's a mistake, but it's like somebody put a light on you, and you can't help yourself. And we need to stop. We can't be there calling up Earl Christopher name and talking about, oh God, what you're doing. What are you doing? What are you doing? Charity begins at home. So you know it is your next mistake because you're always looking for love in all the wrong places. Pick up total stranger, bring Satan in your house with your children, and 10 minutes after, poor child calling him uncle, when in fact, it is a nightmare dressed as a daydream. I'm not being judgmental or standing on any soapbox, but if the cap fits, you are doing the wrong thing at a time when the country needs you to do the right thing, and you need to course correct. Taylor Swift said, better calm down. And I say, rest it. Give it a rest. It ain't gonna wash up, run away. It gonna be there when you look again. Relax. We are paying a high price for people who are irresponsible. This thing is starting no police station. This thing start in your house. We're all kind of people just buzzing about. And women are sitting down and give it a rest. Because when you're busy flexing and feeling yourself, thinking that your milkshake brings all the boys to the house. Your milkshake bringing all the boys to the yard. It's the children who ultimately suffer. Give it a rest. Give us a break. And stop enabling the conditions that ultimately serve to break down families, leaving children unprotected and vulnerable. Be damn disciplined and be focused. Look after your children. That is our primary responsibility. You see, when children have no direction, no adult supervision and guidance, because mother and father looking for love in all the wrong places. You're spending money that you should have invested in food or school shoes, going to party, listening to Usher, and feel as you singing about when you say, well, come here, baby, and let daddy show you what it feel like. I wanna make love in this club. Yes. In the club. Yes, let me say. I want, you know. I wanna make love in this club. Hey. In this club. Hey. In this club. Oh, baby, daddy show you what it feel like. You're dipping low and doing it. And you have the children there unprotected. And Satan running wild in your life, and then it comes into my house. Dipping low, dipping and doing it. All of this time, your children home alone. Children looking after children, left up to their own devices, vulnerable and soft targets for unscrupulous predators. A big part of getting crime under control is the strengthening of our family units, which ultimately will lead to resilient communities. Tunapuna is a beautiful place. I've walked here many times. And I'm always so fascinated by the diversity of Tunapuna. Yes, yes. Diverse community, beautiful communities. And we have those reflected all over Trinidad and Tobago. Yes, we need peace. And there must be peace, not in the valley, peace in the homes. Because we need parents who are attentive. Our citizens have been so frustrated with the crime epidemic. They are calling on the police to bring some relief. What I've been hearing lately makes a lot more sense, because I think we are coming around to realizing that the police alone cannot deal with crime. They certainly need to do way better than the stats recently announced by the Minister of National Security. Because, you know, the detection and solve rates for the period of September 2022, very current stats, you know, to September 2023, stand at just 18%. It means that out of every 100 crimes, they solve 18 in some cases. I think this might be murder. And 82 goes undetected. So it means murderers must be sitting down inside, oh God, please help me. We don't know. We don't know. And this thing is totally out of control. According to the breakdown, the detection rate for murders is actually 13%, with police solving 83 out of 663 murders for the period. And we are rushing again towards that 600. And they'll solve again 13%. So the biggest deterrent is if you know you will be caught and swift justice will be meted out. From 2015 to 2022, $48 billion was allocated to national security in the 7 years to fight crime. So it has nothing to do with dollars. It has to do with sense. And as Mr. Hamlin Jalal said, and management. Management matters. Sense matters. Common sense matters. So right along this east-west corridor, where people insist on putting this useless government into, this useless group of people into government, we are getting another opportunity. Next month, next couple of weeks, it's 2024. And then 2025. I am hoping that Tunapuna will be on the side of the UNC when that time is come. You can't be no glutton for punishment. You know what is happening. We look at where we are. On a, what night is it? A Wednesday night? Or Thursday night? Sorry, I know I'm mixing up my nights because we just on the beat. We are just working so hard.
Yes.
So hard. We are working hard because we want to convince you that we can do it. That we are ready. We are capable. Led by Caura Bissessa. The only leader. The only leader. Yeah. We are here because of her. So I don't know, people in La La Land talking about they want to take, I don't know, take over what?
Mickey Mouse show.
Well, I ain't going all there tonight. I'm talking about serious issue, sexual assault. So Winston Churchill said that a country gets the government it deserves. And that chairman from the Commission of Inquiry said that instance was not an act of God. What we are doing in Trinidad and Tobago is not an act of God. It's a deliberate act. I ask you to think. People meet me all over, telling me the UNC has to win. But the UNC cannot do it, cannot make the change we need by ourselves. We need you. We need all of you. We need all of you to make that change. When you know better, we must do better. The detection rate for rape, incest, and other sexual crimes, it's at 14%. So every one of those crimes, so little children, 1 year to 13 years, they solve 14 out of the 100. So I really want to thank you for coming out. And as we come to the end of this year, we have to continue the work and engagement. It is not an easy road, and the noise can sometimes get to you. It is life. Our very hard-working party organizer, the Honorable Ravi Ratiram, our General Secretary is at the back. People feel these things as go up by guests and come down by guests. All this is hard work by humble people who do. Monday night, by the way, we are in Couva North. Well, you see the MPs reminding us. But before Monday night, tomorrow morning, the Honorable Caura Bissessa herself is on TV6 morning edition. Get up early, brush your teeth, do your morning business, say prayers, and sit down in front of your TV and don't move. All right, go early, start from 6 o'clock. You're practicing for the election. That's what you're doing. So it's not an easy road, and the noise can sometimes get to you, but it is life. Be focused, knowing that another year of this PNM governance is untenable. While when you look at the wasteland this country has become, where it has been normalized for young girls to be raped and murdered, it is commonplace for 6 years old to be murdered in their bed, for 9 years old playing joyfully in a field to be gunned down. That is normal. Normal now. We don't blink about these things. They are literally going from the womb to the tomb. The PNM has normalized the murder of teenagers and young men in the very prime of their lives. Now we avert our eyes, look the other way, or just pass over the dead bodies lying on the sidewalks. We looked away whilst 4 young men suffocated for air in a pipeline. We don't stand even to insist the government give us the barest minimum of working and monitored cameras, pepper spray, or a TTPS that detects these life-changing assaults. Notwithstanding that, I urge you not to give up. Keep the faith, because as that rapper Tupac Shakur said, he said, that is not the greatest loss in life. The greatest loss is what dies within you while you're still alive. So we have to keep hope alive. So UNC never surrender. I want to thank you so much for coming out. Thank you for being a great audience. Thank you so much.
Let us hear it from Miss Jolene John. Ladies and gentlemen, only had a good time? Only had a great time? Well, let me tell you something. As she said, early in the morning, get up, because the political leader will be live on TV6. Let us give the leader all the support, because we have one leader, one party, and when we go into the general election, she will be the next Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Caura Bissessa. Before I invite Prakash Bharat again, I want to echo the call made by Ms. Jolene John to the government of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Make the Paria report public and give those families what they deserve. They deserve to be compensated. I support the call by my senior attorney, Prakash Ramada. Make those families happy. I now welcome the chairman of the Tunapuna Corporation to close off these proceedings. Constituency like a promoter.
Let me take this opportunity to thank a few people here. Let's give it up for our dear Deputy Political Leader, Jolene John, for her great contributions she's making throughout the East-West Corridor and throughout the length and breadth of Trinidad and Tobago. Let's thank MP Khadija Amin and her staff for all the work they did here this afternoon, all their contributions. Let's thank our PRO, Kirk Megu, for his attendance. Our General Secretary, Peter Kanai. Give him a round of applause. Let's thank MP Ravi Ratiram for the wonderful UNC banner we have in the back here and his support also. Give him a round of applause. Let's thank Richard Sicharan for his great contribution here on the health issues tonight. Give him a round of applause, please. Let's thank the councillors of TPRC, Richard Rampasad. Give him a round of applause. Jalen Ruptarain, Kamla Pagu, Seema Augustus, Diane Bishop, Cheryl Ann Pamphil. Let us also thank DJ Tank for the stage and all the decor you see here this afternoon and the sound system. Archie for doing our streaming. Give him a round of applause also. Senator David Nakid and former chairman of TPRC, Hamlin Jailal, for his great contribution here this afternoon. And Richard Sukdev from the Shogwanas Borough. Let me also, at this point in time, want to wish our former youth officer and international relations officer, Nicholas Morris, a very, very happy birthday from El Dorado, the city of gold. Thank you all and every single one of you for making out here this evening, and especially one gentleman, Brian Big, for his wonderful Master of Ceremonies here this afternoon in chairing this lovely and great meeting. The hundreds of you who came out, thank you. Keep looking on for the United National Congress as we move forward to victory in the East-West Corridor and throughout the length and breadth of Trinidad and Tobago. God bless you all. Have a great night and a Merry, Merry Christmas.
Check his